I didn't want us to spend all the time on this matter because there's the special prosecutor's case that I want to bounce off you, because yesterday the special prosecutor Martin Amidu released a 2-page document where he responds to the former president and flag bearer of the NDC's candidate going into this election. I want us, first of all, to take a listen to the former president, and then we'll come back with what the special prosecutor had to say yesterday.
And they knew that the Japan was going to be discussed today. Because he was a coward, and he knew that they were going to discuss Japan. So put a paragraph on Airbus to equalize the discussion. I mean, what stupidity is this? You know, because you are investigating Japan, present a report in Japan. Why? Because you know Japan is going to be discussed. You've indicted the president's cousin as finance minister, and you are afraid that you are presenting only a report on Japan. So in the Japan report, put some other reports that balance the equation. I thought he was man enough. Come out. The point is, you say I'm the leader of a political party. I say, if you have a legal basis for investigating me, go ahead and investigate me. If you have a legal basis for investigating me, go ahead and investigate me. There's been a DPA, a deferred prosecution agreement. You are not a party to it. You don't know who are involved in it. They've identified some people in it. You don't have an authenticated agreement from SFO or from whoever is involved in it. And you say, I surmise that government official one is so. Somebody is so. On what legal basis are you proceeding? But you see, the thing is, his office is important, because the investigation they did on Japan is not a surprise. I said it this morning. We knew already that it was vitiated with corruption. Everything that he has found out.
So this is what the special prosecutor is now responding to. And just a bit of what is contained in the statement before I let you gentlemen come in. So special prosecutor, for instance, says, Your Excellency, the wise and the brave former president, John Dramani Mahama, man up, wise up, and be brave enough to come with 2 lawyers of your own choice to be cautioned and interrogated by this office to demonstrate your valor and wisdom as not being elected government official 1, and also as not being the first guarantor to Samuel Adam Mahama's passport application. Now, I'm sure that you two have seen the statement, and so you're familiar with what is contained in it. Start with you, Al-Hassan Suhini. Is the former president going to present himself to the special prosecutor? How do we put closure to this matter?
Mamavi, isn't it ridiculous? Isn't it ridiculous? I mean, I'm sure that if you check your old videos, you will know my position on the special prosecutor. I had reservations even approving him as member of the appointments committee. And my reasons were simple. I did not think he was incompetent. Maybe he is, but I did not think he was unqualified, because he's been a lawyer of long standing, former attorney, deputy attorney general and all. So his qualification was not, an issue to me. I believed that he was qualified. But I also had reservations because I thought he was being led by, unhealthy emotions. He was being led by unhealthy emotions. And those unhealthy emotions, judging from, his past stance on issues, and even the way he appeared during the appointment committee, I believe was going to cloud his judgment and make it risky for anybody that he had personal, issues with. And, it is clear in his work and in his write-ups that he's full of vendetta. I mean, he's bitter. He's bitter, and it shows in almost every epistle that he writes. And I just will pray and hope that he finds healing somewhere for whatever is worrying him.
When you say he's bitter, who made him bitter? Was it the former president?
Sorry?
Did the former president make him bitter?
Well, I don't think so, because there is nothing to suggest so, that the former president in any way made him bitter. I mean, some people just go through life with their own issues. And sometimes when you become, a victim of their bitterness and vendetta, you may not even be able to explain how and why you became, a target of that,
But we also want closure to this matter. We're tired of the back and forth.
So the point I am making is that we must work to preserve men like former President Mahama, a very tolerant man who has tolerated this man and his, abuses since God knows how long, and many other abuses that people have thrown at him. He's a very, very a tolerant person, and there's no doubt about that. Everybody who has dealt with him, whether in office or out of office, will tell you how tolerant he is and how inclusive his policies have always been. Such people must be preserved. We must not allow, people full of bitterness to push such people to a point where they will have to fight for themselves and perhaps break out of, the nature that we preserve and the nature that we should preserve and use as a model for others to emulate. Look, Mr. Martin Amidu has special powers. That's why he's special prosecutor. Isn't it ridiculous? Isn't it just ridiculous for someone with the powers that he has to now be requesting the former president to voluntarily submit himself and see if he will not interrogate him or not?
Oh, but he's explained the reason he didn't. He's explained the reason he didn't get into the matter. And if it's not appreciated, then come forward yourself with your $2.
Mama V, isn't it again ridiculous for us to even accept such a reason? So are you saying that if the former president, God forbid, is involved in murder today, because he's leader of a political party, he will not be invited for interrogation? Is that what Martin Amidu and those who think it's a reasonable reason are suggesting? I mean, let's not get into the realms of, absurdities. It is clear that the man has no basis whatsoever to invite the former president for any questioning or interrogation. But it serves his political interest to keep this matter afloat so that he can cover up the corruption and nepotism of his friends in government. It is clear that that is what Mr. Martin Amidu is doing. And he is not only desecrating his office, but he is, being unfair to the people of this country who put him there and pay him to fight corruption. When there is corruption all over, when there's corruption all over him and all over his friends, what he chooses to do is to play the political ping pong with former President Mahama. That is simply the new low in our politics. Even for a man like Mr. Martin Amidu, it should be low. He has powers that he can summon anybody to answer questions on. He has those powers. So why is he suggesting that because he's leader of a political party, he cannot do that? I mean, are you saying that if any of the flag bearers, about 12 of them who are fouled, engage in any crime, they will not be questioned in this country? But what kind of logic is that? Then why is he even writing about it? Why does he even want the public to discuss it? It is just a political stick that Mr. Martin Amidu has found to continue his bitterness and vendetta against former President Mahama. But you see, in this world, we may all be born the same day, but our destinies are not the same. And perhaps that is what Mr. Martin Amidu must understand. It was not the fault of President Mahama for him to be, named Professor Mills's running mate and for him to rise to the office of being vice president and later president, even though Mr. Martin Amidu and others may have been the founding fathers of the party. It is not President Mahama's fault. It is destiny. And so perhaps Mr. Martin Amidu must understand that and let go. And let go.
Andrew Ejapamesa.
He is.
Yes, Mama B, I'm here.
Andrew Ejapamesa, how do we put closure to this?
Well, I guess that I agree to an extent with Al-Hassan when he says that the powers that are vested in the special prosecutor should be one that ought not stop him from proceeding with an investigation against anybody who is found to have infringed the rules or infringed our laws. But I can understand, Mr. Martin Amidu, when you relate the personality of Mr. Mahama with previous instances of political actors or leaders who have been invited by the police on both sides. You recall when Kennedy Japan was invited by the police, the mass of political supporters, party people who went there, Sami Jemfi, most recent one, I believe, Kuku Ayudoho and all that. And so to invite the personality of the former president and the current running mate of the biggest opposition party, like he's explained, may not be prudent under the circumstances at this time. But I strongly believe that crime has no expiry, and it is not in doubt at all. Right from the very day that I read the judgment at both the US and UK courts, who the identity of government official one or individual one, if you like, was. Because it is very clear in the document. And I'm surprised why Mr. Mahama feels pained that Mr. Martin Amidu has linked him with government official one or individual one. Because, Mama B, I'm sure you read the documents. The only elected government official in this country is the president and the vice president. I am elected, but I'm not a government official.
So
I'm
what
a
are
public
you?
officer.
What are you alleging? What are you alleging right now, Andrew Ejapamesa? Because the person who's been mentioned,
the identity of Mr. Mahama being government official one is clear.
But he says he's not government official one.
Why? So is he saying that the Airbus admission is false? This is not only one court judgment. Hold on.
I was just going to remind you that you are a lawyer.
Wait. Please. Yes. That's why I speak the way I speak, because I read the documents. The US court judgment and the UK court judgment. I have not read the one from the French court because I cannot read nor speak French. This was a judgment on admission by Airbus. You read the judgment, it indicates the investigation and the emails. In fact, a line in the judgment says that emails intended for government official one was routed through Adam Mahama as a conduit. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Indeed, it is reported, and Al-Hassan can deny it or not. Mr. Mahama is reported by Daily Graphic Online as having admitted that he is government official one, but that he did not generate any financial benefit from the transaction. Is it true or not? And that referral was made in the report by Mr. Martin Amidu. So what are we talking about?
Okay. So Andrew Ejapamesa, just
our eyes to tell us that Mr. Mahama is not government official one.
So just hold your thoughts there.
The only elected government official in this country.
You see, Mama B,
I just want to ask him something.
It's only one person, Mr. John Mahama.
Okay, Andrew Ejapamesa, just calm down for me. So you have adequate reason to believe that he's government official one. And so what?
And that's why I said that I agree with Al-Hassan that yes, proceed to conduct the investigation. He says he's commenced it, he's issued some warrants, an Interpol red alert. The arrest of the Samuel Adam Mahama has not been effected yet, but it is clear from anybody who has read the judgment, and I have read it cover to cover. I have read the portion relating to Ghana more than 20 times.
Okay, so just a final
paragraphs 132 down.
So just my final question to you, Andre Japamesa, and I'll come to you, Alhassan Suhuyini. So there's enough basis. There's enough basis. Why is he holding on and using an election? What if the former president becomes the next president?
Well, that's why I'm saying that I agree with Alhassan to an extent, to the point that Mr. Martin Ambidu ought to proceed with this investigation, regardless, because it will be useful for the good people of Ghana to make a determination whether this individual who has been former president, who has been indicted in international corruption, the largest globally, and who is offering himself for consideration as president again, is worthy of their vote or not.
Okay, but Andre Japamesa, I just want to remind you that the person that you're referring to has not been indicted. It's government official one that has been indicted. But let me just wrap up on this with you.
They used only a code, but it's an individual. The only elected government official is Mr. John Mahama. Let's not split hairs over this. It's a matter of fact.
Andre Japamesa, let's hear Alhassan Suhuyini.
What are we talking about?
Yes, Lamabi, you see, first of all, it is important for you to understand why the propaganda machinery of this government, as far as corruption allegations against President Mahama, has to be put on full gear at this time. It is because a lot of people who thought that President Akufo-Addo and his government were going to fight corruption have come to the conclusion that corruption has grown wings and has become bigger and more pervasive under this government. In fact, it is no longer just the perception of people or my suggestion or saying so. It is actually the position of the Transparency International that this government's best performance, as far as the fight against corruption is concerned, is worse than the previous government's worst performance. Nana Akufo-Addo's best performance is actually worse than the previous government's worst performance. So the propaganda is catching up with them. And so they just have to rev the machine one more time.
Okay.
Former President Mahama, since after leaving office, has challenged this government on countless number of times to prosecute him, to retrieve all the mansions that they claim he bought in Dubai, all the ships. He has challenged them countless number of times. Now his immunity has kicked in, and so they have very little to do than just do the politics.
Okay.
As for being government official one or not, what my brother has to tell us, so that at least people will respect his law degree and in practice, is what exactly, assuming without admitting, that government official one is indeed, the former president. What in that finding, in that report in the UK, is said to have been done wrong against Ghana and against the laws of Ghana, for which reason we must be splitting heads over this matter.
Okay, let me tell you what was wrong
in Ghana.
Let me tell you what was wrong. It is a matter of fact that Ghana bought aircrafts from Airbus between the period that is being contemplated. It is a matter of fact.
And that was wrong?
Wait, no, nobody has said so. It is a matter of fact that Airbus admitted that they paid bribes and political contributions for the transaction.
To who?
It is a matter of fact.
To who? To who?
Wait. It is a matter of fact that Airbus admitted that. Wait, let me answer your question.
To who? Please, you see, it is easier for you. You just don't make the allegation. You just don't make the allegation and move on. To who?
to have paid bribes to Mr. Mahama's conduit.
Mr. Mahama's conduit.
Conduit, which is his brother, who was introduced to the transaction.
You see, you are a lawyer and you are proceeding dangerously. Is it said in that report that Mr. Mahama had a conduit?
Yes, that Adam Mahama was introduced to the transaction to serve as a conduit for messages intended for government official one. It's in the paragraph 136.
And by your conclusion,
if you understand the meaning of conduit, which is a passage, and the conduit, the person, you know that I will not stick my neck out to make these comments against the person of the former president.
And you know me well enough. As we engage in this politics, even as we engage in this politics, it is important that we do not sacrifice our long-standing practice as professionals. It is very important that we do not sacrifice it on the altar of professionalism.
I'm making reference to the point.
Well, gentlemen, unfortunately, we will have to end the conversation.
Has challenged this government.
Unfortunately, we have to end our talk here. Just when it's getting real heated. Member of Parliament for Tamale North and Member of Parliament for 2nd D. Gentlemen, I wish you well in the upcoming fights. Hopefully, we'll get to speak again before the contest. But I really do pray and hope.
And alas, and rest assured that the good people of 2nd D are bringing me back to Parliament January 2021. Don't worry at all. I'll see you.
I wish you the very best of luck.
So that's an admission.
In the next
that's an admission, Andre Japamesa, that Al-Hassan Suhuyini is definitely going back to the 8th Parliament.
Oh, I wish that he comes in, yes. I wish that he comes in.
Thank you, gentlemen, for sharing your thoughts.
Only in Parliament. So there ought to be a good balance.
Okay, great. And as you campaign, gentlemen, COVID-19 figures are going up again. So please make sure that you adhere strictly to the protocols and you send the message to your supporters as well.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. We'll do so.
All right, great.